Okay, welcome in everyone to another deep dive.
Yeah, diving right in
Yes, that's right.
to some pretty intense stuff today.
Yeah, and ancient, we're going way back today.
Yeah.
To the book of Amos.
Amos, you.
Now we're looking at a daily devotion called A Roar from Heaven.
Okay.
And this is based on Amos chapter 1, verses 1 through 15.
All right, getting specific.
Yeah, we're going deep.
I like it.
And the key verse here that this whole devotion is built around is verse 2.
Right.
The Lord roars from Zion and thunders from Jerusalem. The pastures of the shepherds dry up, and the top of Carmel withers.
Whoa. Okay, so right off the bat, like sensory overload,
Right.
roar and thunder, and then like I'm picturing this like withered landscape. It's not subtle.
Not subtle at all.
This isn't like, God sort of clearing his throat.
This is not a gentle nudge.
No, this is like a full-on like foghorn blast from like the divine.
And the thing that is so interesting to me right from the beginning is that this roar, this powerful message,
is directed at injustice.
Okay.
It's about corruption, cruelty.
So like not just like abstract noise, there's a reason for it.
Exactly.
There's a target.
There's a purpose behind this.
Okay.
And what I think is really fascinating is that this message is not directed at who you think it's going to be directed at.
Okay, lay it on me. Who's it not directed at?
It's not directed at Israel.
Oh, interesting.
Initially, the first people to experience this judgment
Yeah.
are the surrounding nations.
The neighbors.
The neighbors, Damascus, Gaza, Tyre, Edom, Ammon, like all these nations around Israel.
Okay, so it's like the storm hits the outer circle first.
Exactly.
Okay.
And here's where I think it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just that they're being judged, but the devotion really unpacks why they're being judged.
All right, so like what'd they do? What's like the charge sheet here?
It's all this stuff that we would consider horrific even today.
Like we're talking about widespread violence, we're talking about injustice that is just baked into their systems, and really shocking cruelty.
Like, man, that's a heavy list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of making me think like, okay, God sees this stuff.
Yes.
Like, he remembers it.
He remembers.
And like, he's going to do something about it.
Yes, and I think that is the key takeaway here from this first part of the devotion.
Okay.
It's this certainty of divine judgment. It's not saying that God might do something. It's saying that God will act against evil.
And this is important, right? Because like, honestly, how often do we look around and just feel like, oh, well, that's just how the world is.
Yeah, injustice wins.
Injustice wins. People get away with stuff. And like, nobody's really holding the reins, But this roar kind of like shatters that whole idea.
It does.
It's like, no, there's actually like a moral order to things, and it matters.
And it matters, and God is not passive.
He's not passive. He's not like off, on vacation somewhere, ignoring everything that's happening.
He's paying attention.
He's paying attention. And what's even more, like, I don't know, it's kind of convicting.
Yeah.
Because the devotion then says, okay, so this is how God deals with nations.
Yeah.
But what about you?
How does this apply to me?
How does this apply to you and me?
Right.
And like all of our little, daily choices.
Right.
It's like, okay, so God cares about justice on this huge national scale.
Yes.
But then what about how we're treating each other, in our families, in our workplaces, at school, just like in line at the grocery store?
Yeah. It makes you think twice about those little moments where you have to choose what's right.
Totally. Are we cutting corners? Are we being honest? Are we standing up for people who are being mistreated?
Are we living with integrity?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, and the devotion really drives this home with this one question that I just can't get out of my head.
Okay, what is it?
Are we living in a way that makes us afraid of this roar?
Oh, wow, that's good.
Or are we actively trying to please God, knowing that he is both just and loving?
Because that's the other piece of this, right? It's not just about like cowering in fear of judgment.
Right.
It's about wanting to be in right relationship with a God who is good.
Yes.
And who wants good for us and for the world.
And that leads perfectly into the next big idea from the devotion.
Okay, hit me.
God's sovereignty over all nations.
So not just like Israel's God, but everyone's God.
Exactly. And I think it's so easy for us, and I know I've done this, to think about God being concerned with, my nation.
Yeah, like my team.
Yeah.
Right.
But this really expands that.
It's like zoom out the map way out.
Way out, because The judgment that Amos talks about doesn't stop with those neighboring countries.
Oh, really?
It goes on and on.
Right.
And the devotion really makes this point that God holds multiple nations accountable
For like specific things they've done.
specific injustices.
So it's not just like a general, you're all bad. It's like, you did this and you did that and that was wrong.
Yeah, precisely. And so that leads us to this conclusion that God is not just concerned with one group of people or one geographical area.
He's not a local deity.
No, he's the God of everyone.
And those lines that we draw on maps
Yes.
don't mean anything to him.
They don't limit him.
He's not bound by them.
Right, and I think that's such an important broadening of perspective.
Totally.
Because if we're honest, so often we kind of unconsciously limit God's concern.
Yeah, like, he's only worried about my little corner of the world.
My church, my town, my country,
My problems.
my problems. But Amos is really blowing that up.
I'm blowing it wide open.
And the devotion really uses this phrase that I think is so powerful. It says, God's heart resonates with the pain and injustice experienced by people everywhere.
So, like, even people who maybe don't even know him.
Even people who may not know him.
Wow.
And that should change something in us.
Right, because if that's true, then it can't just be business as usual for me.
Right. So how does this wider view of God's sovereignty actually affect our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, how do we live this out?
And thankfully, the devotion doesn't leave us hanging.
Oh, good.
It gives us some really concrete things that we can do.
Okay, I'm ready. Give me the to-do list.
All right, the first thing is that it calls us to cultivate a global perspective in our prayers.
Oh, that's interesting.
So often, we just pray for ourselves, our families, maybe our friends.
A little circle?
But this is saying, look beyond that.
Like, think bigger.
Think bigger. Pray for the needs of the world.
Almost like prayer becomes like a way of acknowledging that God's authority is bigger than my little world.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else is on the list?
The second thing is this call to actively engage in our callings.
So, like, what I'm good at, what I'm passionate about,
Yes, and use those gifts, those talents to serve.
but not just, like, in my own backyard.
Not just in your own backyard. This might mean reaching out beyond your immediate community.
I like that. It's kind of a challenge.
It is. And then the third thing is generosity.
Okay, money, time, that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And the devotion really makes this point that our giving can have a ripple effect.
Like, my little bit can actually make a difference somewhere else in the world.
Yes, and that's because God's work and concern are so much bigger than we can even imagine.
It's global.
It's global.
And kind of humbling, you know,
It is.
to think that, like, we get to be a part of that.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about God roaring against injustice, and we've talked about his sovereignty over all the nations. What's the, like, big takeaway here?
I think the big takeaway is that we're encountering a God who sees, who isn't afraid to act.
He's not, like, a distant, uninvolved God.
No, he's active, he's involved, and he cares.
And he cares deeply.
And he cares deeply about justice and about love.
And that's the thing, right? It's both.
It's both.
It's not just, like, harsh judgment. It's coming from a place of love.
Yeah, because he loves the world.
He loves the world, and he wants what's best for it.
And he wants us to be a part of that.
Yeah, to partner with him in making things right.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a few questions.
Okay, sure.
First, how does this idea of a roaring God who isn't afraid to, like, shake things up,
Yeah.
how does that challenge your current understanding of how God acts in the world?
Yeah, that's good.
And then how might this understanding of God's sovereignty
His authority over everything.
change your perspective on what it means to live in this world?
Oh, that's deep.
And then finally, what specific area of injustice?
Because, man, there's a lot out there.
There's a lot.
Like, where do you even start?
I know, but what is one area of injustice in the world that really resonates with you?
Yeah.
And what small step could you take?
Like, one thing.
One thing in response to that.
Man, that's a great place to leave it.
So thank you all for joining us for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time.
See ya.